All right, first and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who is worthy to be counted for double honors. Peace and salutations to you brothers out there pushing the truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and full of the gospel. It's the brother Gabari from the Indiana camp coming back at you again with another sit down. And I'm entitled this video, This World is Falling and It's Falling Fast. All right. Now I got a few videos here that we're going to hop into, man, basically talking about fucking sicknesses, illnesses being passed around, fucking destruction by natural disasters. You know, of course we got the war still happening on, you know, news on that, you know, and just showing that all these catastrophes and all how this world that we know is falling apart, you see. And these are all what plagues that the Lord has sent, just like how he did in Egypt. All these calamities, all these plagues that we read about in Egypt in the book of Exodus, guess what? It's all happening now, and it's beautiful because what? We're right around the time of Passover, all right, Pesach, you know. So this is around the time that the Lord was really messing Egypt up, you know, and this is getting us what spiritually minded back into that mindset, you know, making sure that we have what that blood around the doorpost, which is modern day what the Tawah, all right, that mark that exemption from judgment, you see. Let's get into a few of these videos and we're gonna get this video on and going.
Shellfish lovers in 9 states might want to hold off on certain clams and oysters. The Food and Drug Administration,
which you shouldn't be eating that shit anyways, you know, that's unlawful, but whatever.
Warned this week that recalled mollusks could be contaminated with norovirus. The FDA said,
and the thing is too, man, I don't know, I didn't have norovirus. Well, I don't know if I had it or not, but basically I just came down from a fucking stomach bug, you know, a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. I had the flu. I had a severe headache, fever, you know. My children did too, you know. Basically my whole household had it. And you know, I prayed, you know, send up some prayers to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and what is a brother helped me, you know, he gave me some ointments and some herbs to take. You know, I got rid of it relatively fast. I want to say probably overnight almost, but I still had a stomach bug. You know, I had diarrhea for, you know, severely for like about a good week and a half, and so I'm just now coming down from this, and I looked it up, and it shit came from a fucking shellfish, you know. Not saying I was eating it, but basically the virus came from it, you know, and not just me, because but it seems like a fucking nationwide, you know, everybody's catching this shit, you know. I had a few family members catch it. My woman's family, a lot of people from my woman's family, they got it, you know. They were vomiting, feeling fatigued, you know, throwing up a lot, you know. Her son caught it, you see.
the potentially contaminated clams were shipped to restaurants and food retailers in Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Nevada, New York, Oregon, and Washington State. The oysters were distributed in Washington. The manila clams were harvested by...
How ironic. It was distributed from Washington. How ironic is that?
By Lumi Indian Business Council. The oysters were harvested by Drayton Harbor Oyster Company. The agency said the recalled clams and oysters had harvest dates between January 13th and March 3rd. The most common symptoms of norovirus include diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, and stomach pain. Other symptoms can...
Yeah, which I had, you know. I didn't have the vomiting, but I had the stomach pains and the diarrhea, you know, from this shit, man. So, like I said, my kids had it, you know, and they caught it, because I think, you know, that's what I believe. I think my kids caught it from school, and they, you know, brought it home and shit, and that's how I fucking end up getting it. But yeah, man, that's just shit going around, man. You know, so I had brothers, you know, praying. Then a couple brothers in the camp caught headaches, and you know, and was, you know, going through something. You see, you know, and these are all just plagues, man, that America is being hit with. All right, scriptures talks about what? Pestilence. You know, being sent. Pestilence is diseases, you know.
Can include fever, headache, and body aches.
God. Let's go ahead to the next one.
Dangerous weather.
Yeah, we're talking about multiple
Other parts of the Midwest are cleaning up
I
from
just built a
far
budgeting app
more
in Base
dangerous
44.
weather.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible.
It's lucky.
Other parts of the Midwest are cleaning up from far more dangerous weather.
Yeah, we're talking about multiple tornadoes, gigantic hail, all reported from Chicago all the way to Texas. Cody Matz here with more on what happened and kind of just
Which we here in Indianapolis, we got hit with a nasty, rainstorm, for the past couple of days. A lot of winds, gusts, a lot of fucking rain lately today. So now it's all for effect from the tornado. All right.
just the different things that you're spotting.
Yeah, and the bright side of living in Minnesota is no, we don't often have to deal with this early in the season. So the snow is one thing, but at least we don't have this. Right. More than 400 reports of severe weather across nearly a dozen states occurring yesterday. Arguably the worst of it was in northern Illinois and Indiana, with supercells producing at least 4 suspected tornadoes. This is that tornado spotted near Kankakee, Illinois. That's about 60 miles south of downtown Chicago. Officials in Kankakee County say the damage is extensive, as the suspected very large tornado quite likely was on the ground for a while. Residents who witnessed it were just shocked by how quickly things happened.
We went out and got something to eat, and on our way back, we seen the weather turning bad. And by the time we got back to the room...
See, man, like I said, man, these are all plagues, man, sent, all right? Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get this right quick. This is Ezekiel chapter 14 and verse 13. It says, "And son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and I will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will break off and will cut off man and beast from it." You see? So in this land, this land of America, it has sinned grievously. It's trespassed against the Lord grievously. You see? So what? Eventually the Lord is going to send famine, and not just famine. What else? I'm going to skip down to verse 15. If I cause noisome beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so it says, so that it be desolate, that no man may pass through because of the beast. Verse 16, though these 3 men were in it, and as alive, saith the Lord, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. It says, or if I bring a sword upon the land, and saith the Lord, sword go through the land, so that it may cut off man and beast from it. See, so what? That trespassing that the land has committed, which is what the people that's in the land, what the Lord's going to send plagues upon that place. You see? That's the only thing that's gonna that's the only thing that the Lord is gonna send. Verse 19, it says, or if I send a pestilence in the land, and pour out my fury upon it in blood, to cut off from it man and beast. You see, and now we're seeing the Lord send his anger upon this place. Verse 7, Ezekiel 7. And 7 and 5 says what? It says, thus said the Lord, and evil and only evil. It's like it. Verse 5, it says, thus said the Lord, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. You see? Now in these scriptures is really talking about what the Lord was talking to Jake at the time. But what we read in Ezekiel the 14th, it says what? Back in 14 and 13, it says, son of man, when a land sinneth against me, has not America sinned against the Lord? You see, has not America, does it not say in Jeremiah the 50th chapter that that Babylon's sin has reached unto the heavens? You see? So if the Lord had did this unto Jake back then, do you not think the Lord is not going to do it to Esau? All right. Do you not think the Lord is going to do not the same thing that he did to Jake back then? We went off back then. We sinned. We transgressed. We went off. We transgressed grievously upon the Lord. And now here we're here in America doing the same thing. You think the Lord is not going to do the same thing to America as he did to us back then? Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get this. This is 2 Ezra 15 and verse verse 10. Second Ezra chapter 15 and 10, it says, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. All right. And right now, this land of Egypt is representative of America. You see, you can read Revelations to prove that. Verse 11, it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. You see? And we were seeing these plagues happen before our very eyes. What? Wars and rumors of war, pestilence, natural disasters happen, you know? And you can equate all these to the plagues that happened in Egypt. You know, what were some of the plagues that happened in Egypt? What? The Lord turned into the water to blood. What? He plagued it with frogs. He plagued it with locusts. He plagued it with darkness. You see? What? And ultimately, what? The very last plague is what? When the Lord destroyed the firstborn of the cattle of men, you know. So what? We're gonna see all these plagues come back into Egypt again, you know. And this Egypt, like I said, is representative of America. All right. Because what? Ezra, he was around what? The Babylonian and Assyrian empire. So so what would be modern day Egypt now? See, Egypt, all these plagues already did. All these plagues that it says what? I will not suffer them now to dwell in Egypt. It says, and I will smite Egypt with plagues as before. Why? Because this already happened to Egypt. So you can't say, oh, that was when Moses. No, that already happened. You see. So now who will be the modern day Egyptian? All right. Who will be the modern day Egypt? It will be over here in America. All right. It will say, oops, spelled that wrong. Revelations 11 and 8, and says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city. You see, that great city is what? America, which spiritually, symbolically, is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. You see, so when it talks about Egypt here in Second Ezra, it's not talking about the actual Egypt. It's talking about what? America, the great city that is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So spiritually, this place is Edom. Spiritually, this place is Egypt. You see. So what did the Lord say? What? He would not. He will smite Egypt with plagues as he did before, and will destroy all the land thereof. You know, and we're seeing these plagues happen. All right, with the tornadoes, with the pestilence, with the war. All right, and guess what? It's gonna get even greater. You know, the Lord is not done with this place. He's gonna steady plague this place with more and great, powerful more plagues. You see. Esau might have Esau release a deadly disease that where your fucking flesh melts off your bones or some shit. All right. Verse 12, it says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punished that Yahweh shall bring upon it. You see, all these plagues, all this evil that America is receiving is all coming from the Lord. Matter of fact, let me grab this right quick. It's like a bear with me for a minute. Skipped right past it. It was verse 11. Okay, come on. This is Isaiah 47 and verse. In verse 10, it says, "For thou hast trust in thy wickedness, and said, None seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and hath said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me." Verse 11, "Therefore shall evil come upon thee," and who's gonna send that evil? Who? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He's the one who sent it upon you. Like we read in Ezekiel, it was an evil and only evil shall come. All right. It says, "Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off." You see, you're not going to be able to stop this. The plagues that are sent upon you, you're not going to be able to stop it from coming. All right. Everything that all the wickedness that you've been doing for eons, for years, it's finally coming back upon your own head. All right. What was I gonna get? I forgot what I was gonna fucking put in. Let's just keep going. "And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." All right. Verse 12, it says, "Now stand with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries." Yep, just like what back in Egypt, what Pharaoh had his sorceries. What two of them was named Janus and Jambres. All right, that withstood Moses. He had his sorceries. He had his magicians to combat against Moses. But what? Moses always prevailed. You see? So right here it's saying what? "Stand with thine enchantments, thy multitude of sorceries." It says, "Within thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail." And the answer is no. Just like how Pharaoh back then, he wasn't able to prevail against Moses. Esau, Edom, you're not going to be able to prevail against us, So when Yahweh Bashem Yahushua comes back, guess what? He's going to completely and utterly annihilate you off this planet Earth, annihilate you off the kingdom, off the throne first. Then you're going to go into 1,000 years of slavery. Then you're going to get annihilated off the earth. You see? But just like back then, just like how back in Egypt, how what Janus and Jambres withstood Moses, but what they always prevail not. They made a serpent out of a staff. Then what? Moses' serpent swallowed up their serpent. Or what? And then there's certain plagues they couldn't replicate. Matter of fact, let me grab that. Matter of fact. They actually had to admit and acknowledge, like, hey, listen, Pharaoh, we can't do this, man. This is from the Heavenly Father, So they had to submit and recognize. Is it hand or finger? It's like a bear with me for a minute while I look for this. The magicians did enchantments and bring forth ice, but they could not. So the lice were upon man and the beast. The magician says, "This is the finger." Yep, it was finger. Okay, Con. I thought it said hand. All right, this is Exodus 8 and I'm gonna start from 18. It says, and the magicians. I'm gonna start from 17. It says, and they did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast, and all the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. It says, verse 18, and the magicians did so with their enchantments, to bring forth lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon man and upon beast. You see, so what back then the magicians they had enchantment. So what, back in Isaiah, the Lord said to Esau, what, stand with thy enchantments, thy multitude of sorceries, that you may prevail. See, Pharaoh thought he was going to be able to prevail with his magicians and his sorceries, but what, they couldn't replicate all the plagues. You see, which means ultimately what, they failed. Verse 19, then the magicians said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord hath said it. You see? So what, man? They failed, and they had to acknowledge that, listen, we can't do this, man. This is coming from the Lord, So back in Isaiah, back in Isaiah 47 and 12, when it says, stand now with thine enchantments and with thy multitude of sorcerers, it's basically the Lord is mocking you, like saying, hey, listen, dude, try to replicate and try to bring yourself up out of this evil that is upon you, out of this hell, out of this straits, because the scripture says what? Let me grab that right quick. While he's eating, right now he's in straits, which means what? A level of difficulty. Yep, this is Job 20 and 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. See, and the word straits goes into a path of difficulty. So what? Things are getting harder for him. Here he is. He's trying to implement his NWO. He's trying to push forth certain things and certain agendas, but things is getting harder. It's getting harder and harder. It says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. All right. So back in Isaiah, so the Lord is like, hey, listen, see, can you prevail? See, can you get yourself up out of this hardship? And just like what, back in Egypt against Moses, what, they found out they couldn't. They found out that they were at the Lord's mercy. You see, that's why in what, verse 13, it says, thou art weary in the multitudes of thy counsels. Why? Because he's trying to find a way out. He's constantly sending up sacrifices. He's constantly, and he's not getting no answers. You see? Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Right, man? Do that wickedness, that sorcerous act that you've been doing, that's always been seen like it was your ace in the hole. That's why you're so weary, because what you're constantly doing, you're trying to constantly find a way out. But just like verse 11 said, it says what? And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. You see? Because why? The Lord ordained it to be this way. The world is literally slipping through your fingers, and you can't grasp it back. It's like Jello, or it's like some type of slime. You ever try to catch slime, and it slips through your hands, and you trying your best to keep it in your hands, but it keeps sliding through the cracks. That's basically how he didn't say the world was given into the hands of the wicked. Now he's fumbling it. Now you fumbling in the world, because ultimately what is about to be taken from you. All right, that's what it's all boiling down to. The world is literally finna be taken from your your little graspy hands, your little hooves or whatever. I got one more video. Let me see. Do I got anything else on this? No, it wasn't this video just yet. It was this video. Let me see.
Before I got out the car, hailstones start falling. And the roof came off the building. Aluminum hit us and slung us around and drug us all over and my car is totaled. So yeah, it was pretty tough.
That's brutal. This morning
they had to get the most drug addicts look as people. Folks look like they look like they was on straight drugs.
Residents and drivers are being urged to limit travel due to downed power lines, trees, and other debris. You can see why the extensive looks pretty devastating in part.
I'm gonna stop it right there. By the way, this is fair use. Fair use. I'm using this for educational purposes. It's all fair use. This is the destruction that tornado caused. You know, and this is one of many natural disasters. You know, like they say, like we always bring out, there's earthquakes happen. There's hundreds of earthquakes happen daily that they don't even cover. You see? And this isn't the things, you know, and these natural disasters are not like an everyday thing. You know, it's not supposed to happen all the time. You see? The reason why is because the earth is basically fighting back against this man. You know, the scriptures even says, listen, when the wicked are in rule, the trees mourneth. You know, that's talking about the people, but it's also talking about the actual trees. You see? People, stop that. People are catching hardships, and even the actual land, the actual trees, the actual plants are crying out.
But first, we are following major new developments in the Middle East and the potential for blowback here at home. A 600-foot cargo vessel still burning tonight after attempting the Strait of Hormuz today and taking incoming fire, apparently from nearby Iran. That major threat to the world's oil supply continues tonight as U.S. gas prices spike again, now averaging more than $3.50 a gallon. And that other new worry for the homeland tonight, according to an FBI bulletin obtained by CBS News, as of early February, Iran had allegedly, quote, aspired to conduct a surprise attack on the West Coast. But how credible is that threat? Our new reporting tonight on a story that everyone's been talking about today. Let's get it right to CBS News Homeland Security and Justice correspondent Nicole Sganga, who's been working the phones. Nicole, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. Multiple U.S. and California law enforcement and intelligence officials told CBS News there is no known, credible, specific threat underpinning that alert. No information given on the time, source, method, or target of any such attack. Tony, this information shared last week with local law enforcement by the FBI's Los Angeles division stems from an apparent tip in early February that surfaced prior to the war with Iran about unmanned aerial vehicles off the coast of the U.S. homeland. In a tweet, California Governor Gavin Newsom echoed that sentiment, saying, quote, while we are not aware of any imminent threats at this time, we remain prepared for any emergency in our state. All of this comes at a tenuous time for our nation's security on the 26th day of a DHS government shutdown that has left security officials working without pay. The FBI offered no comment. Tony?
Nicole Sganga putting it in context.
Yeah, so all this shit fucked up, man. You know, you got fucking ports not happening. Iran shooting down fucking ally shit. I think, as a matter of fact, I think one just happened as I was making this video. Iran and shot down an ally. Yeah, here it is right here. Where the fuck it go? Iran strikes U.S. ally and fighting threats oil route.
Iran launched what it calls its most intense attack since the war began. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards fired missiles overnight, including long-range ballistic missiles at targets in Israel and U.S. assets in the region. Iranian state media says the strikes involved Khormshar missiles, which can travel more than 1,000 miles.
Damn.
And Israel launched a new wave of strikes on Tehran earlier today, and a CNN team in northern Iran reported nighttime air raids lasting nearly an hour. Those attacks were not limited to the capital, as strikes hit multiple areas across the country. Iran's UN ambassador says more than 1,300 people have been killed since the conflict began. And U.S. forces destroyed multiple Iranian naval vessels near the Strait of Hormuz, including 16 mine layers. Intelligence sources say Iran is laying mines in the waterway that carries 1/5 of the world's crude oil. The mining is not extensive yet, but Iran can lay hundreds more mines in the critical energy choke point. President Trump posted on social media Tuesday that if Iran has placed mines there, they should be removed immediately. All right, let's turn now.
Yeah, we just seen parts of that ship going to the Straits of Hormuz, but yeah, man. So basically, you know, all this, you know, it's so much happening right now. It's so much going on, you know, with the war, with fucking natural disasters, with fucking pestilence, and just going on. It's basically we're seeing the world crumble, and Esau's losing his power as we speak, you know, and it's right here before our very eyes, you know. And these things that we've been telling you these for years now, you know, and now we're finally seeing it's happening. We're finally seeing what our number one enemy, this guy right here, you know, not this guy personally, but who Esau Edom, pale face. We're finally seeing what his downfall, his destruction, you know. Like dude did off Matrix. What was it, a Tank? He said, man, if you are who you say you are, it's exciting time to be alive. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, right here, look. It's a very exciting time. Oh, come on, man. I gotta fucking watch that ad.
This is right now. I'm not supposed to talk about this. But if you are, very exciting time.
See, he was happy, bro. He was happy. He said, if you are. It's a very exciting time. Seeing all this prophecy happen, seeing all this judgment going out, man. And it's an exciting time, man. You see, the men of the Lord are rejoicing right now, man. We're finally seeing this man be put down. This man finally be in his right state up under us. You see, that's why we're so happy. That's why we're so charged. That's why we're so excited. That's all I had, man. Lord will help this video is edifying for you brothers out there, man. Shalom. Until next time.